What's good,
Let
party
me
people?
see.
This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking and doing a part two with the one and only Dre Miley. Dre, how you?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Good, good, man. I, actually, it's better now because I went on an errand with my son, right? And I was like, oh, let's go get some donuts. Like we haven't been out of the house. Hey, bud. Uh, See, about your son there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, let's get out of the. I mean, since you're out of the house, let's go grab some donuts at your mom's favorite spot, whatever. And then we get home, and I think I lost my phone. And I mean, my phone is what I'm doing this
Right.
through.
Yeah.
So you have the whole locate my phone, blah blah blah, and then just found out that it actually fell to the back seat, and I didn't realize
Ah.
it. Yeah, so it's better now, but it was rough for the last like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, because that's stressful, man. That's your outlet to the whole world right now. Is your phone. So yeah, I can imagine. I freak out too. That's why I have to keep my phone like in a certain pocket of my car because I know I'll lose it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good principle to have. If you've got a spot. I mean, obviously, if you lose your gloves, it's one thing. Those are replaceable or whatever. But like, even if you've got a deductible on your, cell phone plan, you're still paying
Hmm.
out a couple $100.
Oh
So
yeah,
Can we
yeah.
can me and Cameron go
who's that in
outside?
the background?
Cause I want to
This
see.
is Jordan. He's trying to con me into doing something about outside.
Hey, Jordan, what's up, buddy? I love your haircut. It's such good hair, man.
He said he
And
loves your
what's the shirt
haircut.
that you're wearing?
Thank
I'm
you.
wearing a Rock and Roll Express shirt. What type of shirt are you wearing?
What's your shirt? It's a
Whoa,
boss
it's that foot
something.
collar and all that jazz.
Hmm.
Hashtag boss status, right?
Yeah.
Ye- Yeah, buddy. Good job, bud. Yeah, I'm sure you're pretty proud of your dad there, huh?
He said he's pretty sure you're proud of me, right?
Yeah. I love how the deer in the headlights, like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
I'm on live. But now
Yeah.
he kind of he knows what you go through though.
Oh yeah. It ever since yeah they've been a part of fight camps. They go to the gym and they do classes at the gym. So the whole family is at the gym. So they ain't got no choice to do it. They want to do something. I was like, fine, you guys gonna come to the gym and learn some kind of self defense besides playing video games or being on their phones all the time. So it's a
And
whole
how I
family
mean, how
thing.
receptive have they been? That's cool. A family that trains together, stays together. But how has that been? And how I mean that pretty much everybody in your family are training, and you don't have to separate your time, your gym life, and your home life. Like you can have it all in one fell swoop. That's got to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. They like I said, they do kids classes. So I have him, and then I have two other ones. I have two other ones, and they do class with me. So no,
I don't know what happened there.
oh, either,
So
but it's all good. But yeah, I have two. Oh, I have two older ones, and they are doing class too. So they get taught by me. He gets taught by another pro fighter. So yeah, they get the same treatment. It took a minute for me to be okay with them training, but like given like this time and age, it's like yeah, you guys need to learn how to defend yourself just in case something happens. So such as I
no,
can't be there, or your mama can't be there. So
no, 100%, 100%. And I mean, was there a particular, avenue that they like better? Did you have one that liked striking better, one that had like, grappling better, or is it still kind of up in the air?
out of the three, my oldest one, he likes wrestling. So he's like the wrestler. He likes to take people down. He doesn't care too much for striking. He likes to kick, but what kid doesn't like to kick? But yeah, he's the wrestler. The middle child, he's the puncher. He likes to punch. He likes to kick. So if he could box all day long, he would definitely do it. That's what he likes doing. That's what he's talked about doing. And then the little one that's sitting beside me, he kind of does a little bit of everything. So he's a small one, but he's also the one with the chip on his shoulder. So if like they get at him, they like try to bully him and stuff. He ain't going for it. He'll swing first and ask questions later. So that's usually fun. We got a trampoline, so that way they can handle all that back there. But that's usually what it is. It's a bunch of boys, so it's all boys, all rough. They like play fighting, and they just it's crazy. They like fighting. That's what it is. It's weird.
I I think that's absolutely tremendous, and so too. Jesse Velasquez says that's so badass. I wish my family would train so they could understand the struggle. But and
Are you showing
Jesse's
my
twin brother actually trained
No,
jujitsu
no.
for a bit and then ended up stopping. But that's got to be like really awesome just to kind of have everybody. And again, it almost fits different parts of your personality, different parts of your skill set. That one kid likes to strike, one likes to grapple, and then the third one basically will do everything. And that's kind of what encompasses your style, right?
Yeah, like it's very weird because it is really cool that your family gets to train with you, and at the same time, it sucks being a coach because like your kids are in like both of my older boys, they're in class, and I'm like, and I catch myself like being hard on them. It's like you two need to pay attention because like you got to figure out what's going on, and so like I kind of step back from like being the coach and end up being like
Is Cameron up?
dad, and it's hard. Like it's really hard being dad whenever you want to coach. So
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, you mentioned about obviously we had some apprehension about them trading, and I think it's kind of funny because a lot of athletes of all ilks, whether it be soccer, football, baseball, boxing, what have you, it's a paradox. It's either they absolutely want their kids to train, or they absolutely don't want them to live the life and or any of it. So, what was the apprehension for you to have your kids involved?
I'm a big believer in like I want my kids to find something that they like doing, not because of who did it. Like my example, I played football and I knew my dad played football, but I didn't necessarily like, oh, I want to copy everything he did. It's like whatever he did, I want to be opposite. So my dad played defense, and I was like, I'm gonna play offense. So I played offense. And then came time to me fighting, and I was like, that's complete left field to what he would do. And I excelled at fighting, or am excelling at fighting. And then when I started having kids and stuff, people were like, oh, that's awesome. You got boys, like, you going to let them do class? You going to let them? It's like, I really don't want my boys fighting because I can't handle it. Like, it was just something, I don't know. I don't want my kids falling in my footsteps. Like, I'd rather you create your own footsteps. But if you want to fight, then I will help you out. But I'm just not going to completely take over and make you do it. So, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, I had a dad that way as well, where I mean, he grew up in Indiana, right? And he was a musician, and he went up against right before he got drafted into the military. Got he he played a battle of the bands of a little with a little group of brothers from Gary, Indiana. You might know them, the Jacksons. But this is
Ah,
before Michael. Yeah, before Michael, when Jermaine was still fronting the group. And, you know, my dad, he was just like, oh, I'm going to do the same to my kids. Like, and he would like, no, you're not going out. You're not, you're going to practice, whatever. And I just was like, screw this.
yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Hmm.
So I do the same with my kids. Like, none of them trade, none of them, whatever. But I mean, whatever this is, I mean, it took me a while to even figure this out, right? And this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But, it takes a little time sometime. But I mean, if they come to it on their own elk, then
Hmm.
awesome, 100%. But if they
Yeah.
do it just because of me, nah, I'm good. You
Yep.
do something else.
Yep. That's what my middle child, my older child, he does it, but like he's known about it. So like I was fighting when he was is booming right now. So like he's a YouTuber, so he likes finding everything on YouTube. What happened was he had found some old fights of me on YouTube, and he went around showing his teachers and showing his students and stuff like that. So like that's another like notch on his belt against everybody else. I was like, you gotta quit doing that to people because people are gonna look at me different. Like that's the lifestyle people are not gonna understand. Like there's already so much shit that goes around MMA anyways. Like you either look like you're a juice head or you look like you are supposed to be like it. It's like I don't want that image of me. It's like I'm pretty laid back. I'm chill. But I don't want people thinking like, oh man, he's got to be abusing his kids. Look what he does for a living. So that was my big thing.
No, I agreed. And I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I grew up in Inglewood, California, and I mean, if you listen to anything about Inglewood, it's Inglewood always up to no good. Every time that I mention that, to somebody, and I'm all like, no, 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 no. Like I grew up in Inglewood. I mean, I wasn't born there or whatever, but I consider that my hometown. I mean, more so than like my actual hometown of San Francisco or where my mom is from in Fiji, right? The Fiji Islands or whatever. Like Inglewood is my hometown, and I consider myself good, right? So
All right.
I came from Inglewood. I'm good. Why can't Inglewood be good?
Yeah, it's just people they like to generalize everything. Like, oh, it's what you see in the media. Is exactly it's what it is all the time, and that's like you said, it's not entirely true. Like some people come from like the roughest of neighborhoods, and they still come out like success, and they're humble and stuff like that. And then you got some people who come from like very rich neighborhoods, and they are like the worst people on the planet. Like it's a person issue, not a community issue.
No, 100%, 100%. And I mean, even if you have all of the, like, there's like out here, there's a homeboy industries where they basically put you know gangbangers, right, and rehab them. After they get out of jail or prison, even they basically acclimate them into having a job again, having some pride, and they call it homeboy industries, and they sell like one of the best salsas around if you can get it, but those are made by obviously non-violent, but I mean felons and what have you, giving somebody a place
Right.
in the world.
Yeah. No, that's pretty dope right there. Like that's really good. Need more of those places. Man, that's really cool. I didn't know they had stuff like that. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're, I think we're the only country where if you know, end up in the legal system or what have you, that we don't rehab our
Mm-mm.
our people, right? I mean, you go to Thailand, you see all of those dudes, like they have like, Thailand fights, or they're dancing like 300, people doing viral videos of
Yeah.
like all the prisoners dancing and flash mobbing. Or in Australia, I mean, the prisons look like five-star hotels, and you're
Mm-hmm.
able to get your degree if you want it, or job training if you want it. And so when you get back into society, because a lot of the times, people end up in this kind of reciprocating cycle, and once they come back from prison or jail or whatever, because all of their rights are taken away. They're voting, they're all of this stuff, whatever. And then they don't have a job or anything to kind of go back to. And it's just like, yeah, they're going to fall into that same stuff because it's all they know.
Yeah. That's 100% right. That's exactly what it is. You see it all the time. Every single time. So if you don't have especially somebody that doesn't have anybody that's like positive to them, or like, hey, I'm gonna show you. Yeah, like you said, it's a vicious cycle. It's always a vicious cycle. But us as a society, we look at criminals like, oh, I can't fix this person. This person did this, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna waste my time on this person. It's like, but we have the same nerve to call ourselves like humanitarians and like Christians and stuff like that, and you can't really turn to look at that person and be like, I can help you, which is pretty cool about the gym that I go to, because like we see a lot of people from every walk of life, and like no one gets like special treatment. No one's like, well, this person did this, so let's stay away from it. It's like, no, You walk through those doors, you're an equal until you do something to not be an equal. And then if you do that, then you're in trouble. So
No, 100%. And I mean, especially at times like this where everything is just so kind of willy nilly and crazy for everyone, no matter what side of the political spectrum, the religious spectrum, the financial spectrum, it's crazy for everyone right now, right? But I
mhm.
almost feel like everybody should start training because guess what? You have liberals and conservatives and cops and all walks of life. You got every religion under the sun, every sexual orientation on under the sun, and they're training on the mats together. That's it. You know, you and that's ultimately the truth teller, right? Stepping on those mats, you can say, "Oh, I trained 3 years here. I'm a black belt, whatever. I've done this, whatever." You get on those mats, and you can't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's almost like a truth serum.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we always say like the mats is an altar, and whatever you put on it's gonna be shown. It's like you don't put nothing on the mat, you ain't gonna be showed nothing. I couldn't tell you how many times we've seen had people come in from the gyms and stuff like, oh, I'm a purple belt or I'm a I don't know, like a Bellator vet or something like that, and then you're like, all right, well, you go with the amateur real quick, see how this goes. You might beat an amateur, but next thing you know, you gotta go to a pro fighter. And when we get visitors, most of the pro fighters are like licking our chops because that's pretty much close to a fight, you know. Because we know that person doesn't have any ties with us. It's just a visitor. We're trying to see how good this person is. And then
No, 100. No, go ahead.
oh no, I was saying that the visitors usually go hard with us, and then next thing you know, you have to put them in their place. Like, oh, you're not as good as you think you are, buddy. So
No, 100%. And to that effect, Jesse Velasquez says, "Big facts. Everyone deserves a chance." 100%. And in regards to the kind of tyrannical parents, he says, "Seen that so much growing up in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So many parents would ruin BJJ for them, forcing them to train and compete." And they would all quit before getting anywhere. And I mean, one of the most like terrifying, horrifying things for me on TV is like toddlers and tiaras or uh, Friday night tykes and whatever. All of these, parents essentially living vicariously through their kids rather than get
yeah,
their whatever for themselves.
man, have you seen that show Friday Night Tykes? Oh my God, those kids are like you were running these kids like it's a business. It's like just hearing how they talk to those kids, I was like, there's no way I could have played for you. Like, there's no way you wouldn't have been able to talk to me like that. Like, you would never talk to my kid like that. You wouldn't have no teeth. So, but yeah, I mean, it is. There's a lot of parents who push their kids. Like we see it in kids class. We had one parent, but I love this parent to death because that kid kind of needed to be pushed. But she was like yelling at her kid, like not like bad yelling, but it was like almost like bad motivation yelling. It's like, get up and do something, like yelling at the kids, like, you're being lazy. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. He's like 7. Like, he's just at the age of 7, like, you are just playing around. You have no idea what you're doing. You know it hurts. You know it feels funny, but you're just having a good time. And I was like, dang, that's harsh. I was like, I'll never be like that to my kid. And then lo and behold, here I am sitting in the back, like sitting back here and like, oh, okay, come on, dude, you got to do this. I'm like, and then I catch myself. I'm like, nope, don't do that because you wouldn't want your dad to do that to you. So, yeah, that Friday Night Tykes and Toddlers and Tiaras and what was it? There's another show. Oh, they have a
The
one where
dance
it's about.
moms.
Yes, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that show's wild. I was like, mm-mm.
It gives me anxiety. I mean, they say that Dana White, if he's in a room, he has Meniere's and like he has vertigo, in certain like rooms or whatever. You sit me in front of that, I will go vertigo and start to, I mean, almost like Linda Blair, Exorcist, spinning my head, is spitting out like vomit because it's vomit inducing. It's weird, man.
Yeah. Oh no, it is really weird. It's like I just don't understand why people would put their kid through that. It's like why? So yeah, like you said, they want to live through their child. It's like, well then you get up here and you do something. It's like leave that child alone. Like that child just wants to play. Like that child doesn't know what it's doing. And if you hear the child's give interviews, like they give like these grown adult answers, it's like you could never talk like that. It's like no, it's like mm-mm.
Yeah, it's a far departure, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesse says, in regards to saying what you don't mean, belts don't mean a thing. Nothing to cover your ass with for sure. Used to hate seeing kids cutting weight 10 to 20 pounds for a tournament, and it's like, bro, they shouldn't even be doing that, and that happens a lot. Like, even in wrestling, it's something that, just weight cutting in general, that's something that's kind of is borrowed over from wrestling that has kind of floated over to MMA, where like you're 13 and you're cutting like 30 pounds. Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's so frustrating, man. I don't even want to put adults through it. Like, even when I'm cutting weight, I hate this. Like, why would I put myself through it? It's like, if I wouldn't get paid to be a professional, you cut weight, but you're old enough to know what happens. At the age of 13, your body's still growing. There's things changing, If you're a female, the estrogen is going crazy. If male, testosterone is going crazy. You have all these things going on with you. And then you're going to mess up someone's, mental state. It ain't even not the body part. Like, you have a bad weight cut. You could literally, like, warp yourself, like, really bad. Like, your body will shut down, but you'll give them some Pedialyte and let them eat and hydrate and they'll come back to life. But like that mental part of it, God, you put a 13-year-old through that, you might as well, no, that's terrible. Like, no, you should never cut more than 30. You should never cut more than like at least 15 pounds if you're going to cut, but it should be just like straight water.
No, 100%. Yeah. I like what one championship is doing, the hydration tests and, fighting at your normal weight, because it's just like, you see people like, I mean, there have been guys and girls that have died from weight cutting and, getting to a point where, you can't sweat anymore. Like, that is like your kidney saying like, fuck you, we're out. Like, that's what it's doing,
Yeah.
And those are long-term effects, even more so than anything that the fight could even dish out.
Well, that's very true. I actually had a friend of mine who's from Georgia. He fights in one of our sister gyms. He actually was cutting weight for a fight. And, he's that old wrestler, like, the whole sauna suit, trash bag, stuff like that. I'm going to run myself into the ground until I'm done cutting. Yeah, his kidney shut down on him because he was supposed to fight that one night. He's supposed to fight day before weigh-ins. His body shuts off. Kidney shut off. He's in the hospital. Like, I think he came close to dying or something like that. I was like, yeah, that usually happens when you try to cut everything all at once. Now, you have to be smart about cutting weights. Like, people are like, if you look at, I think they said Habib walks around at like 190, almost 200 pounds or something like that. But he don't drop that all at one point. He tapers that down as fight camp goes. But then you got some of these crazy people who decide, oh, I'm going to cut weight in like 3 days. It's like, no, you're not. Your body will go into complete shock. You're burning off more stuff than you need. And yeah, weight, I do like one that they do the hydration test. And I know in North Carolina, you cannot weigh within a certain percentage of your fight weight. Like, if you go up, I think it's like 5 pounds or something like that, fight's off. Now, you have to still, like, if I fought at 35, I think like the highest I could be is like 136 or something like that. Like, they're that serious in North Carolina.
I like it. I like it because, again, it's all in the gist of fighter safety. And why would you be going into a particular scenario where you could literally, I mean, your life is kind of, you're building yourself up, all to break it back down. Why would you want any more duress as you're kind of heading into what could be, like we were talking about earlier, like the last fight of your career, and because at any point that can happen.
Yeah, you're right. I think people, they want to cut because they want to be the bigger person, but then some people don't know how to cut weight. Like, you know, there's a whole process of cutting weight, and you got to have somebody there with you that knows what's going on. You got to know what goes in that person's body and what this person can take and how long they have to sit in the sauna. It's a lot. Like, people are just so frustrated. It's like, you need to just chill. Just chill. If you had to cut more than 20 pounds for your fight, don't do it. Like, I did that when I was fighting at 125. I was walking around maybe 150. No, at one time I was at 160 at one point, and I had cut. And I still gradually was cutting, but like making 125 was the worst time I've ever had. It was the worst time. Like, I was just skinned. I was cut up. I'm like, but I couldn't hold myself up on the scale. I was drained. And I just looked at my coach. I was like, I cannot fight 125 again. He's like, yeah, you look like death. So I was like, 135 it is. I was like, I can keep my muscle and I can condition it better than I could fighting at 125.
Yeah, and those are just kind of the names of the game, and you don't know until you know, right? And or you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, right? So
Yep.
it's crazy. I mean, there's different methodologies of fighting, obviously, but I mean, once you kind of hit that plateau, and you're like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that. It becomes better for your career long form. The longevity of your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Now, in terms of like stuff that you're doing away from the cage, right? Wait, first off, I mean, do you have a favorite fight either that you've been in or that you've watched? Like, what is the thing that kind of like motivates you when are on your downtime, or even something that you've been actively involved in?
Uh Usually I don't really get to do much. Usually it's like I usually hang out at home, play video games, hang out with the family. Usually just like to chill. Um, Most of the fights is because we have fights like every first Friday or something like that at the Joe. So I usually go there and watch. And I don't know. I usually try to watch every UFC fight that comes out. I like watching Bellator fights. I mean, as far as favorite fight I've been in, probably the Cody Durden fight. I lost that fight, but then I learned so much about myself in that fight, and then it really boosted my confidence. Cause like after watching him fight in the UFC, I was like, oh my god, it's like I was like, I fought this dude so much better, and I made a post about it, and like I got so many hits off that post. It wasn't like people dogging me out. People were like, yeah, you should have been in there, and I was like watching it, I was like, dude, I could do that. It's like that was my favorite fight. And watching any of my teammates fight, that's probably the best thing ever. So it doesn't matter if they fight for Valor, they fight for Bellator, they fight for UFC. I can't really watch Vince fight because when Vince fights, I get stupidly nervous. I feel like I'm in the fight myself. My chest is hurting, all kinds of stuff. So it's rough watching him fight. Like, it's really bad.
No, for sure, and which that's gonna happen this week. I mean, this weekend. You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Ovin's fight, and I mean against Alonzo Menifield. It's a tough fight for both of them. And I think it's going to be the fight of the night for sure.
Oh yeah. Hopefully Vince puts him out real quick and then comes back home. I always want a fast recovery for him. Go in there and beat this kid up because Vince is better than him everywhere it goes. But if you fight, it's not about your skill level. It's not about your win loss record. It's about who is going to be the bigger dog in the fight. That's what most people don't get about wins and losses. It's like it really does not matter because you can fight a bum and you be a stud, but you lose that bum. Guess what? That really just doesn't mean anything. You just had a bad night. It's like, or if the stud won in a stunning fashion against a bum, they're like, oh well, he just fought an easy person. But how do you know that person's easy? How you know? You don't know. You don't know what that person does on a mental basis. So I mean, that's what a lot of people forget. Fighting is not physical. Fighting is mental. Fighting is emotional. So
100%. Now it's been an emotional journey and physical journey that you've gone through. I mean, over a decade. in this game, but there's been so many people that have supported you. So let's get some shout outs out of the way, my man.
Okay. I'll give a shout out to Frankie's Body Shop, Chloe Padilla and Frankie Padilla for always keeping me in tip top shape. You know, they always keep the gas tank big. You know, it's getting easier to go 5-minute rounds easy. And it almost feels like I'm just doing amateur rounds again. Everybody at Knoxville Martial Arts Academy, everybody from, you know, Eric Turner to Joey Zonar to every pro fighter. My friend, brother, and is James Adcock. He's fighting for the belt next Saturday. So he's fighting Jason, Asian Persuasion. He's fighting for a belt. You know, Christina Ricca, a lot of people, you know, everybody it's ridiculous. Like, we have so many people that are promising, and, you know, it's getting to the point where we are not competing against each other. We're competing with each other. So there's a lot of jaw jacking and the intensity you're going to get yelled at. And then all my sponsors, you know, Hydrate, you know, they gave me like gallons of water, which is dope because I really don't drink water, but for some reason I like their water. So I do that all the time. Taylor Turner, she's Eric Turner's wife. She does my nutrition. You know, she helps out my family with our nutrition and stuff. So not only do I perform better, but my family actually has more energy, and, you know, everybody's not eating McDonald's and, you know, stuff like that. So everybody's living in a healthy lifestyle. So let's see, who else? There's a lot of people. I have a lot more sponsors than I thought I did.
Bring it.
Drasieg Apparel and Athletics, they gave me this workout gear, which is like my favorite workout gear to wear. It's so nice. It's so comfortable. Like, I ain't never had like rash guards or, you know, compression pants to feel so good. Like, feel so tight. It's really good. Like, very airy stuff. You know, it makes you want to go out and run. And I don't really care too much for running. Big shout out to, you know, like I said, all my teammates. You know, a lot of them are fighting. So everybody's fighting Friday. Vince is fighting Saturday. So, I mean, you know, there's Ray Hewlett. He's fighting Friday. Anthony Cochran, the Seagull, he's fighting Friday. Nick Wigley, he's fighting next Saturday. It's stupidly packed for these next 2 weeks. It's gonna be so much fun, and it's gonna be so much fun watching everybody just go in on everybody. I think that's pretty much it for, you know, sponsors. Let's see, RDX. Thank you for your stuff. They helped me out in the very beginning. Now, any other sponsors that I am forgetting, I'm sorry. My brain's been scrambled for the past few weeks. So, but yeah, thank you everybody who's ever helped me, who's ever bought a T-shirt from me. I'll have T-shirts soon, so I'm trying to figure out a design for it. So, other than that, thank you.
Dang right, and we'll tag him on this post for sure.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't already, follow the one and only Dre Miley. Where can they find you on social media, my man?
Instagram is Dre Miley MMA 135, and then Facebook is just Dre Miley. So I have a fan page there, so you should be able to find it relatively easy. Twitter, I think it is Dreku 135 MMA or Dreku 125 MMA. It's one of those two. But yeah, I only usually use like Twitter and Instagram. I've learned how to use Twitter better than what I have, because I was like, I am not using Twitter. I don't understand how to do it, and it's not getting the point across. So I just use Instagram. But then I started using Twitter, and I was like, okay, this is pretty easy now. So Instagram and Twitter and Facebook's a big three that I am on. And I'm always interactive, so if people want to talk shop about fights or they want to talk shop about nutrition, stuff like that, I'm more than willing to help out. So
Dang right, dude. He's interactive because he took this guy's request for a podcast, not once but twice, and I thank you for it. And big shout out to Everett Osmer, who connected the dots to put us together. So shout out to you, Everett, in Alabama. But this has been According to Woods with the one and only Dre Miley. Thank you guys for watching with us, and if you haven't done so already, like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods YouTube and Facebook page, because you'll get awesome stuff like this. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Dre, for coming on. But we are out.
all right, thank you for having me, man.